This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Ahead on 17 News at Noon, dozens gathered this morning to remember two siblings who were killed by a suspected impaired driver as they stood on a street corner. 17's Christian Galeno will have an update on the funeral services for 19-year-old J.J. Malone and 10-year-old Kaylee Brown tonight at 17 News at 5. As kids head back to classrooms, school districts are distributing COVID testing kits, but folks on the lookout for their own tests should be careful of fraud. And Los Angeles County firefighters are mourning one of their own, killed in the line of duty yesterday morning. Those stories and more on this Friday, January 7th, 2022. Thanks for joining us and happy Friday. This is 17 News at Noon. I'm Chris Burton. And mourners have gathered this morning to remember the lives of J.J. Malone and Kaylee Brown, siblings killed by a suspected impaired driver as they stood on a street corner. An emotional memorial service began hours ago at Canyon Hills Church. 19-year-old J.J. Malone and his 10-year-old sister Kaylee Brown were struck and killed by a car last month on Panama Lane near South H Street. The driver, Lisa Kaur, is suspected of being under the influence at the time of the crash. 17's Christian Galeno is currently at this service. He'll have a full recap of the remembrance tonight on 17 News at 5. Meantime, we're learning more about the person who was found dead in a house fire earlier this week. The fire happened early Wednesday morning on Verde Street in central Bakersfield. Officials say Alan Aprewo of Daly City was found dead inside the home at the time of the blaze. There's no update on whether the 38-year-old died in the fire or was already dead before it ignited. And a man found dead inside another abandoned building just days earlier has been identified as well. A two-alarm structure fire broke out New Year's Eve at Casa Lopez on Panama Road in Lamont. 43-year-old Alejandro Reyes Pantoja of Arvin was found deceased inside after the flames were out. There's still no word on how he died. And a startling increase in COVID-19 cases today as we learn of more than 1,500 new infections. More than 6,000 people have tested positive for the virus since Christmas. The virus is spreading more now than at any point during the Delta surge, and we haven't seen community transmission like this in a year. We also learned today of 9 new deaths. Those people died in early December. Hospitalizations here in Kern are also increasing, with 167 people being treated for more severe symptoms. Another 31 are fighting for their lives in the ICU. Meantime, here at home, children at every public and charter K-12 school in Kern County will have the chance to take home an at-home testing kit, and they come just in time as some students return to the classroom next week. The superintendent's school's office confirms that they have received 195,000 kits from the state. Those kits contain 2 tests each. They started to go out to students yesterday, and results are given in only 30 minutes. This will ensure that every single student has access to testing if they begin to show symptoms or if they want to ensure a safe return. Officials are recommending to get tested when you have symptoms and isolate for at least 10 days, as we've been advocating throughout the pandemic. Positive results must be reported to schools, and for more information on how schools will be distributing those test kits and to find instructions on how to administer those tests, you can head over to http.kgt.com. There you can also find a list of locations where you can get one of those COVID-19 tests.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
And consumers, meantime, are being warned to watch for fake at-home test kits. The Federal Trade Commission says scammers are taking advantage of the short supply. The FDA posting a similar warning. The agency says always make sure any tests are FDA approved. They recommend doing some research before buying or to try to get them from your healthcare provider. Meantime, Bakersfield police are investigating a shooting today that ended with the arrest of 6 teenagers. This happened Tuesday afternoon at around 3 p.m. on Oleander Avenue near Cherry Street. Officers responded to a ShotSpotter activation there and found several shell casings in the area. Police say the teens opened fire on a car driving down Oleander and then ran to a home on nearby Holtby Road. The 6 teens range in age from 14 to 17 years old, and it's unknown if anyone was hit by that gunfire. Today is the deadline for Bakersfield residents to apply to serve on the Measure N Oversight Committee. The deadline was initially stated for Wednesday, but was extended. During the 3-year term, committee members will review revenue generated by Measure N and make spending recommendations. Applicants must be at least 18 years old and a resident of Bakersfield. Those interested can apply at the city clerk's office on Truxton Avenue or on the city's website at bakersfieldcity.us. A local organization is working to spread the word about important resources for our veterans. Hope for Our Heroes says its mission is to be a centralized source of veteran organizations and resources here in Kern County. The Garlic Company, a Ford Dream Builders team, was at the Elks Lodge for yesterday's Honor Flight breakfast, distributing Hope for Our Heroes pamphlets to those in attendance. To learn more about that organization, you can visit the Portrait of a Warrior Gallery and the Kern Veterans Service Department. There's a new Selfie museum coming to downtown Bakersfield tonight, but with a twist. It's called Obscura, and the immersive photo experience is set to open for this month only. City leaders say the project will feature an array of interesting spaces, including a confetti playroom and an art gallery where local art pieces will be available for sale. Obscura will be open every Friday and Saturday night in January from 6 to 10 p.m. at the corner of G and 20th Streets behind the Fox Theater, and tickets are on sale now at obscurabakersfield.com. That money raised goes to the hub of Bakersfield, which works to revitalize and beautify downtown. Now to an update on the Philadelphia row house fire that killed 12 people, including 8 children. Investigators are looking into whether the fire was caused by a child playing with a lighter near a Christmas tree. Federal authorities are in Philadelphia to assist the police and fire departments with the investigation into Wednesday's fire. Firefighters say none of the 4 smoke alarms in the building were working, but housing authority officials say they were working when they were inspected last spring. It was the deadliest single fire in Philadelphia in more than a century. And Los Angeles County firefighters, meantime, are mourning one of their own today, killed in the line of duty yesterday morning. A procession carried the body of a firefighter, Jonathan Flagler, from the hospital to the medical examiner's office. The chief says Flagler was helping residents escape from a house fire when he was overcome by smoke and flames. The homeowner says she's saddened by the loss of a good person who was doing a good thing, and she feels for his family.
What we lost is material, and you could either live without it or replace it, and that's a very different loss than what they had. So we hope the best for them and keep them in our hearts.
Flagler worked as a California firefighter for over 20 years. A judge says Vanessa Bryant's lawsuit against LA County can go forward. The ruling denies the county's bid to dismiss the case and paves the way for a trial to take place next month. Vanessa Bryant claims the sharing of gruesome photos of the 2020 helicopter crash that killed her husband, her daughter, and 7 others caused her significant emotional distress. It came to light after a deputy showed cell phone images to patrons in a bar. Bryant is alleging invasion of privacy and negligence. And now to breaking news, with a Georgia judge issuing the sentences for 3 men convicted in November for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Gregory and Travis McMichael, as well as William Roddy Bryan, were sentenced just minutes ago. Both McMichaels were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, with additional years added for additional counts aside from the murder conviction. Bryan was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. Arbery, who is black, was shot and killed in Brunswick, Georgia in February of 2020 by 3 white men. The controversial circumstances of the case, described alternately as a citizen's arrest that turned deadly, were compounded by the delayed reaction of law enforcement. The 3 men weren't arrested until May 2020 after the release of cell phone video from the fatal shooting was leaked to the media. In your 17 Business Watch, with word that 2 popular shops at the Marketplace in Southwest Bakersfield are not renewing their lease at the end of the month, property managers have shared news on what's coming to the retail location. Home furnishing store Williams-Sonoma and jewelry outlet Julia both confirmed Wednesday that they would be leaving the Marketplace at the end of January. The Marketplace says that there will be some new shopping options coming soon, though, with customers soon able to enjoy a new Love Sushi location and beauty services destination Sola Salon Suites. Well, more than 28,000 pounds of ground beef are being recalled here on the West Coast after a sample package tested positive for E. coli. The recall affects store brand packages of ground beef sold at Walmart, Albertsons, Kroger, and Winco. The U.S. Department of Agriculture urges those who purchase the affected meat to throw it away or return it to the store, saying there's a risk of, quote, serious adverse health consequences. We have more information on how to determine whether your meat is tainted on our website, kget.com. And yet another supply chain issue for the automotive industry. This time, tires are being impacted. Tire shops around the country are having trouble getting their hands on premium Asian tires because they say they're still stuck on shipping containers. That, plus pandemic disruptions in the rubber sector, shop owners say they're left with no alternatives. The growing list of car parts in short supply is making getting around harder and more expensive for customers. Experts say drivers should check their tires at least once a month in the winter season.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.